here's the bowl. Okay, here's what I got from the shady spot with the lousy soil. Not bad, right? Now, in that same bowl, let's put up what I got here with the sunny spot with the good soil. Look at that. By weight, it's, I would say 4 times the difference, right? Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and I'm out here harvesting some sunchokes, aka Jerusalem artichokes, aka sunroot, and etc., etc., etc. There's many names for these things. It's basically like a giant daisy, and when it's done growing, it leaves a root in the ground. Kind of resembles ginger root, but doesn't taste anything like that. Very sweet. It's got a high amount of sugar in it. So anyway, the purpose of this video is to just show how well these grow and how they really don't care about soil quality, sunlight, etc. So this bed here, okay, is not a good spot. I've never amended the soil here in any way. It's just using the, lawn soil. It gets a mulch once a year, that's it. It's underneath a big spruce tree. My house is right over there, south of here, so it casts shade on this spot. So this is a shady spot with poor soil. It gets relatively good moisture, but because it's underneath this big tree, it doesn't even get very good moisture because the tree sort of, covers, keeps the rain off this spot. It's a relatively dry spot. So in terms of growing conditions, I'm sure it could be worse, but in terms of my gardening enterprise here on my property, I've done as little for these plants as possible. So I just wanted to show you the kind of results, even with that sort of neglect, you can get, right? So here I am, I'm pulling up the roots from one plant. When you plant these, you stick a piece in the ground about what would fit inside a shot glass, okay? And I'm going to show you what I pull out as a result, from one of those plants. And then I'm going to take you to another spot in my garden where I sort of had ideal conditions, and we'll do the contrast, right? I'll show you what ideal conditions will give you by contrast. And you'll see that, sure, you get better results when you've got ideal soil, ideal sun, everything ideal. But the great thing about these plants is you get results regardless, right? So I think that's from the one plant. This might be another. No, that's it from that plant. Okay, so that's it from that plant, I would say. I spaced them about 12 inches apart. All right, so I'm going to put one of these pieces back in the ground, and that'll make a plant next year. That's pretty much what I do every year, right? I just come out and from this spot here, it's always been the same thing. I know I normally like to rotate my crops, but with this spot here, that's all I do. All right, so here's what I got from this spot, from one plant. So from putting one piece in the ground about this size, what would fit in a shot glass, about 1 ounce in volume, I got this much. So at least a 10-to-1 ratio in terms of volume and weight. Not bad. Definitely not a failure, right? So that's all you need to do. If you can get a hold of some of these this time of year, all you need to do to plant them is take a piece, stick it in the ground, put some mulch over it, some leaves, and do nothing until November of next year. Right? You can plant them in the spring too. There's a company that sells them in Canada here called chokedup.ca if you're in the United States or elsewhere in the world. I don't know, there's options everywhere. You have to just do a search online, you'll find them, right? But that's the company I know of here in Canada that sells them. I'm sure there's others that do it as well. But this garden's planted. Now let's go to a garden, better soil, better sun, better everything. See what kind of results we get there. All right, so here's where I grew sunchokes in my main garden this year. And this isn't even my best soil, this spot here. It's good soil. Certainly better than the last spot I showed you. But here's one of the plants. I'll just pull it out here. Get that root off of there. Holy smokes. He's big. A couple hunks off of there. It's blown over in the wind. But just to give you a sense of right? This is a big plant. So in the other spot, they might have grown 4 feet high. This is like, I think it got, this one here in particular might have got 12 feet high this year, right? So they really grew well, right? So let's see, it seems to have had two stalks, but let's put that aside there. Let's just do a little digging and see what we got out of that. All right, so here's what we got so far. Put these over here. All right, these are like a red version. I can't remember the name. I'll look them up and I'll put them on the screen after I'm, when I'm editing the video. But I mean, look at that hunk there, right? These really grew. And sure, this is a different variety than the other one, but that the results here aren't the result of different variety. Look at that, right? I mean, so it is definitely worth. Good God, holy Moses, look at that. It's definitely worth giving them good soil, right? I mean, these ones really, people will say these will take over an area and they'll colonize, and they do if you don't harvest them, right? You got to harvest them every year and then take it all out, put a little bit back, and sure, you can rotate these. You don't have to put them in the same place every year, but yeah, they'll take over an area if you don't use them. If you're just growing them as flowers or whatever, yeah, you're going to regret it probably. They'll take over. But in terms of, I think that's about it for that one there. I think we've got everything. Oh, another piece there. If you really like turning your soil over, this is a good thing to grow, because you got to get in there with a digging tool, and you don't need a tool like this. You can just use a stick like this. Is totally fine. Old traditional, digging stick, most basic tool ever. Works great, right? Anyway, I think we've gotten everything from that one plant. All right, this is fairly sandy soil here in this spot, but I'll put a piece back in for next year, like that. Put a mulch over that later this weekend. But look what we got. Oh, let's contrast. So let's do it this way. Here's the bowl. Okay, here's what I got from the shady spot with the lousy soil. Not bad, right? Now, in that same bowl, let's put up what I got here with the sunny spot with the good soil. Okay? That's the difference. Look at that. By weight, it's, I would say 4 times the difference, right? So, and yeah, it's a different variety. You can see these are sort of red and these are white. But I mean, I've been doing this a few years. If I planted these white or what, I don't know what the variety these are. These were just given to me by someone. But if I planted these in a good spot with good sun and good soil, I would have got a lot more, because I've grown them in various spots in my garden over the years, right? So anyway, the sunchoke, an unbelievably tenacious plant. It'll grow anywhere. Good soil, bad soil. Good sun, good water, bad water. Just an incredible thing to grow in your garden. They're very sweet, they taste good. I've got videos on how to cook them, and there's lots of stuff online on how to cook them. You can pickle them, you can stick them in a stir fry, you can roast them in the oven as a side dish with a nice meal. They're just very versatile, really easy as easy to grow as rhubarb. And you can plant them this time of year if you can get a hold of them, or order some online and plant them in the spring. I planted these ones. This one's with a huge yield. I planted these in the spring, right? You can plant them now because they're basically, like, they're made of antifreeze. They're invincible for the northern climate, right? I live in zone 6, zone 5, that sort of thing, but I think they're good right up till zone 3, maybe zone 2. I'm pretty sure, I'm confident with zone 3 anyway. They're indigenous to North America, and they're just a great tasting, invincible, easy to grow plant. If you've got a corner in your garden where you can't get things to grow, and you know, it's you just don't know what to do with it. It's shady, you know, so on and so forth. Stick some of these in it, you'll get something out of it. By that contrast, if you've got, you know, a patch of lawn that you want to turn into a garden, dig a few holes, you know, just dig a hole about, you know, 6 inches around, stick one of these in the hole, right? Put the clump of soil on upside down, put mulch over that whole area, and leave it, right? Next spring, the sun won't get to your grass, all your grass will die. These will grow, right? They'll create this huge canopy, right? In the fall, you'll have these to harvest, and that soil, all the grass that was there will have died. It will turn into compost. That'll be a garden ready to grow something else in the following year. If you're worried about these coming back, because people are always saying, oh my God, these are invasive and so on and so forth, I've grown these in various parts of my garden. I've harvested them all, moved them to other spots. The following spring, a couple come up, you just yank them out, and there, you're done. They will not take over your garden if you move them around to different spots, if you stay on top of it, and it's not a lot of work. You know, really, in May, you'll see something growing, you're like, oh, that looks like a sunchoke. Pull it out. And then, you know, the root only has so much energy in it to send up new growth. If you just eradicate that new growth in May, June, it doesn't have any more in it, right? There's about 3 different spots in my garden where I've grown these in previous years. They're not growing there now, right? So they're not that aggressive. I mean, they're not invasive because they're indigenous to the area here, indigenous to North America, but they're colonizers. They can be aggressive colonizers. If you don't harvest them, if you're not pulling them out and all that sort of stuff, yeah, they'll really take over. I mean, look how much root this thing created, right? That's what they do. That's how they try to survive. They store energy. They gather all incredible energy from the sun, and they store it all in their roots. Pick the energy and eat the energy. Share it with your friends, and you can enjoy the sunchoke for, you know, for all it's worth, sort of thing, right? So I hope you found that. It's starting to really rain here, so I gotta wrap this up. But hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. Look at those monsters.